Okay, for 17.2, what we're going to do in this section is journalize and enter on the ledger our write-offs for specific companies. So, section 1, we did our uncollectible accounts allowables. So that's just one generic number. Well, now for this section, those numbers are going to be broken down into individual accounts directed at the specific businesses that didn't pay back what they had charged to our company. And those are called write-offs. So we've got our instructions here. It shows how entering the amounts in a general journal. On this page, we've got our step-by-step instructions. So we get to the work together. Write off Davidson Corp's past due account is uncollectible, $849. So what we'll do, going back to the example on the first page of the section, we're going to write off our account. So step 1, we're going to enter our debit amount. Let's get 3 steps on here. We're going to do this whole line. So that was on November 2nd. And we're getting into the line allowance allowable for uncollectible accounts. And we'll abbreviate that. Back here. So our document was M245. So document number M245. And our amount was $849. You can see in the example that's going to go in the debit column. $849. So now we're going to make an entry on our journal for the Davidson Corporation name or account. So we're going to list that as accounts receivable, and we're going to write Davidson Corporation. Or I'm just going to put AR for abbreviation. Davidson Corp. We don't need anything here, but we still need to make an entry in our columns. So we've got a debit here, so this is going to be a credit. $849. So this is what we've got after the first one. Then for our next one, have another write-off for JGF Industries. Past due account is uncollectible, $2488,247. So it's the same type of transaction that we're journaling. So we're just going to do the same thing. This one, but this one's on November 3rd. So we put a 3 in here, and we're going to do another line for allowance for uncollectible accounts. M247. We've got an M247. The amount was $2,488, so that's the same, the debit column, just like the other one. $2,488. That. And then we'll enter another line. It's going to be another AR line for JGF Industries. And then in our debit column entry for 2488. So there's that one. And then we're going to have, so with our next, so we've got another write-off for Sansing Company's past due account, 609. So we're just going to, once again, repeat the steps here. So it's on the 4th. Allowance for uncollectible accounts. Abbreviate that. M251. And then the amount was $609. So that's going to go here in our debit column. And then we're just going to add, just like the other two, going to add our AR, our accounts receivable, because that's the account that this is going to go under when we get to the general journal. I'm sorry, the ledgers. So AR, Sansing. Just like the others, the credit column 609. So now we're at those. Got another transaction to go here. Oh, looks like a couple more. So these are a little bit different. So now we've received cash for a payment for an account that was written off in the past as uncollectible. So we're gonna do the opposite. So on the 14th, so we're gonna, of these, each one of these accounts that we've entered here, we're gonna do the opposite now. For when we receive the cash. So here where we had the accounts receivable under as the second entry, well, now it's going to be opposite, so it's going to be our first entry, because now we've got to put it back into the account on their ledger. So we'll do that from the general journal. So we'll have account receivable. This is Lynchburg. Corporation. And we're looking for the M258. And then this amount's going to go, like I said, it's opposite, so we're still going to go in. We're going to go in the debit column for this one. So the amount that they paid in was $1,548. So now we're going to have, on the line below this, we're going to have our allowance for uncollectible accounts. Kind of abbreviating all over different spots here. And that's still going to go, that's going to go under the credit column this time, 1548. So we should have that. So we have another transaction, our last one, and it's going to be, we're going to journalize it just like we did this one. So looks like JFG is paying us some money back. Received cash for full payment from JFG. Previously written off as uncollectible, 2488 M261. So that was on the 29th. Accounts receivable, JGF Industries. That was M261, the document number. And then the amount was 2488. At our line for our allowance for uncollectible accounts, because now we've got to balance that back the other direction. $24.88. So there's our journal. Now on the bottom half of our page, we've got our cash receipts journal, because now we've received money. We've received money in for these accounts. So now we're going to have to enter that money on our cash receipts journal for part 2. So we've got November 14th. Our account title is going to be for Lynchburg. And that was R415. Where that came from up here. So their accounts receivable credit, because they paid money back, was $15.48, so they get a credit of $15.48. And our cash debit, $15.48. Got that, got our credit and our debit, both are going to be equal. So now I just have to do our entry for JGF Industries. That's on the 29th. JGF Industries. That was R429. They paid us $24.88. So now we have our cash receipts journal taken care of. So then the last thing that we need to do for part 3, post journal entries to the general ledger. That's going to be your other page. So what we're going to do is we'll start with our accounts receivable. This here's our accounts receivable title for our general ledger. So this isn't for specific accounts. This is for just for our AR accounts. So November 1st, we have a balance debit of $50,148. So this is AR account, so we'll go down our list. Here we've got an AR account. So we don't need to write any titles down, but we can put the date. It's the 2nd. And Journal 15, so G15. That goes here. We have a credit of $849. So now we had the debit of $50,148, so now we just apply the credit to the debit, so we can bring that, so that's going to bring that down. So 5,148 minus 849, 49,299. Go down to our next account receivable on the 3rd. G15. 2488 credit. 2488. So we got our 49,299 in here, so we can just subtract the 2488 from that. $41,835. So I got that glare. Yep, I didn't do something right there. 2,000 from 49 is not 41. Minus 2488. 46,811. Okay. I'll go down another. So on the 4th, another $609. So 4th, still on G15, Journal 15. 609 credit. So we'll subtract 609. $46,202. Okay. Remember our last two transactions from our journal are going to have the opposite effect now, because remember, money came in on these last two. So on the 14th, we have an account to our accounts receivable. Now we got a 1548 debit. So we'll put 14 here in the date. Still on Journal 15. AR 2488 debit. We got that. So now we have a debit balance, so we've got more debit to add to it, so we're going to add 2488 to that. Certainly go back up. 48,690. This glare seems to be messing me up. This isn't right. 46,202 plus 2488. Oh, I think I got ahead of myself. I wrote down the wrong number. Should have written down the 1548. You probably caught that. So I'll just one line through there. 1548. 46202 plus 1548. 47,750. I'm just going to skip this line here. So what I'll do is I'll just write G15 here, mark a line through that. Through this whole thing, like that. That way indicates there's an error on that. Okay. Now I've got our last one on the 29th. So that was 2488. So we'll add 2488 to that one. $50,238. That. So there's the top part. Now we're just going to do the same thing with the bottom part that we did with the top part. So now we're going to do our allowances for uncollectible accounts. So we already have a credit balance down here. So on the second, the $849 debit. When you apply the debit to the credit, so remember we're going to subtract. So it's going to bring our credit down to 4109. We're on Journal 15. Another allowance for uncollectible accounts, so on the third. $2488, still on Journal 15. So we'll apply the debit to the credit. So that's we're going to subtract 2488 from 4109. Then go to 1621. So we have an allowance on the 4th for $609. Just going to bring this down to 1,012. And then we've got, remember this was a different transaction. This is one where money came in. So we've got our allowance for uncollectible accounts. We've got a credit of $1548. 15th. Credit, 1548. 15. So add those, 2560. So now we've got a credit plus a credit, so it's going to go back up. Then we've got our last transaction on the 29th. 2488. Then we'll add the 2488 to the credit. That comes to $5,048. So now we've got a couple last things to do here. So remember on our ledgers, we've got the page number that the journals came from, that the ledger entries came from on the journal. So now we've got to go back to the journal and put our post reference numbers on there. So our allowance for uncollectible accounts, the account number is 1130. So on the collectible accounts, we can go ahead and put 1130 in there. And the reason why I'm putting them up here in the corners like this is we can leave room for account numbers, because eventually these are going to go to specific account numbers on account ledgers. Actually, I'm going to do that for the business names. Okay. So we've got those. So now we've got Davidson Corporation. That one on ledger number 1125. So we'll put the 1125 in there like that. And the account number for it is 110. So now we've got JGF Industries. Or we'll start at 110 because we're just starting it at the very beginning. You know, AR accounts go in the 100s. And the first one's going to be the lowest number is 110. So JGF, that came from ledger 1125. That account number is going to be 120. Sansing 1125. That account number is going to be 140. I'm sorry, 130. I got ahead of myself. 130. We've got Lynchburg. That one on 1125. They're going to be 140. Now we've got JGF. They went on 1125. And they've already got an account number. Remember, their account number is 120. So we'll put 120 here. Tiny little box. So there's that page. And then that page. So there you have it. 17-2. Now do the on your own.